So hi guys, we have Mr. Glenn. Pleasure meeting Mr. Glenn.
Hi, thank you, Anirudh.
Yeah. So he is the Commercial Counselor for Department of Trade and Industries, Philippine Trade and Investment Center from the Embassy of Philippines. So sir, we had a very interesting conversation just before the interview regarding the trade relations between China and Philippines, right? If you could just shed some light on it and what all opportunities are there in the future, and at the moment, how is the relation progressing? Yes.
As we all know now, China is really among the leaders in green mobility. And the Philippines is a big part of the expansion of their market. If you look at the top markets of Chinese automobiles in general, right, the Philippines is actually the 9th largest export market for them. We welcome it because the entry of the new players, I think, will add dynamism to the market, but also will be important as we continue to develop the whole automobile industry in the Philippines. Right. Right now, adoption of electric vehicles is accelerating. It's still about 5% of the market, but we have really seen during the last 3 years that adoption is becoming really very strong. For example, last year, BYD and some of their products that are hybrid and also the pure electric is gaining strong acceptance in the market.
So even the customers are accepting these products in Philippines?
Yes. The Philippine market, if I may talk about it, has been dominated by the Americans, Japanese, and Koreans. Recently, really the Japanese and Korean brands, okay, because they have been in the market for a long time. Right. So, but we find that, for example, the younger people now, they like talking to younger members of my family, and they've switched to Chinese cars now. Right. So they said that first, these Chinese cars are modern, high tech, right, and the price is very competitive. I think that the challenge for these new cars to really gain acceptance is to show that they will be in the market for the long run, to make sure that the parts are available and that service also will be available. So we're working with the companies in building the pool of technicians. Right. Because we feel that I think the country has passed a law on electric vehicle development, and we have. For the initial stage, as we still have to develop the capability to produce the cars, we have actually reduced our tariff, okay, on electric and even hybrid and charging stations, right, so that we can build the ecosystem, right, promote adoption, make them more competitive, and we hope that after a few years, we will be able to build the ecosystem, hopefully some production also of the EV. One of the things that we believe is a strong competitive advantage in the Philippines is in the area of green metals like nickel and cobalt, right, which are needed in the production of batteries.
Right. So, what are the strengths that Philippines have? Wherein, let's say, if any other country also wants to partner or do a bilateral trade with Philippines.
Yes.
So, what are the strengths and weaknesses that Philippines have?
I'll start with the strength, and maybe the weakness is an opportunity. No? So, when we promote, and this is the poster for that. When we promote the Philippines, we say that our proposition is through the acronym GEMS, G-E-M-S. Okay. I would like to start, however, with M. because that is what is driving many of the companies, the Chinese companies, to go out.
Okay.
They're looking for markets. We all know that there's actually overcapacity here, and for them to continue to grow, they have to seek for markets. And ASEAN in general, a neighboring market for them, is the first market that they're reaching out. So the Philippines has a growing economy, growing middle class, so it is a huge potential market. For every Filipino family, the dream is to have some vehicle. I think it's true for any family. So as their income increase, maybe they start with bicycle, motorcycle, then they go to cars, then the vans and so on. That is happening now. Our economy has been growing fast this past few years, and so people are really moving to mobility. So it's the biggest attraction for many of the companies. And as I mentioned, they are there now. We are one of their biggest markets. And then the G is the green metals. We have nickel, copper, and we are next to Indonesia, the second largest supplier of nickel to China.
Okay.
Because Indonesia banned the export of nickel ore, we are now the largest supplier to China of nickel.
Amazing.
Of nickel. No? So, but we hope that we can also produce the processed nickel so that they become really a material for battery manufacturing. The E is for electronics. As we know now, the electric vehicles is 70% electronics.
Right.
So we have a strong electronics industry in the Philippines.
Okay.
So that, I think, will be an important factor also as we develop the products and maybe add on more features to electric vehicles in the future. The S is actually software. We also have some software, just like India.
Right.
We also have some software professionals. We know that our players are working with some of the automobile companies in areas like autonomous driving. But I know also that there's some work on maybe battery management, which is all important in making an electric vehicle. So GEMS is our proposition.
Amazing, amazing. So you specifically focused a lot on the market and green metal, right?
Yes.
So as you rightly mentioned, I think everywhere around the world, let's say spending capacity for the families is increasing. So they are demanding for good quality products, good mobility solutions, etc. And the green metal, the benefit or the strength that Philippines has, especially for nickel, but the processing skill set is yet to come, right?
Yes.
So, how is Philippines planning to make sure that they also emphasize on developing the processing units and the skill set which is required?
Right. Yeah.
And is China open to share that knowledge and help Philippines grow in that direction? What is your take on it?
So, as I mentioned, we have laid out the policy to develop the industry through an electric vehicle development law. So one of the initial things we did was to bring down the tariff to facilitate adoption, including for charging stations for the next. It started in 2025. It's until 2028. At the same time, we are starting to talk to the companies that we also have our ambition to develop the EV industry. And so we have a electric vehicle investment strategy.
Okay.
We are providing incentives for those who will invest.
Right.
On the Chinese side, we are very happy that they're going out now. They're saying that they do not simply want to sell, but they're also very interested in expanding their value chain.
Right.
There's so many ways of doing that. We know that, for example, a lot of them say that, we need to have some scale So that's why if they become successful in the market, then the chances of doing some assembly there becomes more viable.
Right.
And we're trying to work with them
Right.
by linking them with local players. Even my government is seeking, maybe, to show our commitment that we are very interested and maybe develop our national EV brand.
Correct.
Now the government is interested to partner with them as well. In the conference yesterday, we heard, and we also heard from some companies that to mitigate risk, they actually are looking for partners in the markets, like in the Philippines, who may be already in the automobile industry, and they have this concept of co-production.
Right.
So, for example, if there's a company with some capacity for assembly, then they can partner, they can bring in their SKDs
Right.
and use these existing assembly facilities.
Correct.
So I think it's a win-win thing.
Very true.
And to hear it from Chinese companies, I think shows their openness to be open to many new models of cooperation.
Right. I think without this cooperation, nothing moves. So it's very
Yes.
interesting to see that China is open for cooperation and ready to let's say work on a model which is more flexible and
Yes.
use the current assembly line in the country and then grow.
Yes.
It's very interesting to see that. One more thing I would like to understand, other than the electric mobility and automotive industry, what all other industries is the bilateral trade happening between Philippines and China?
As I mentioned, all the big companies are already there. No? BYD in last year was the third largest supplier already of automobiles in the Philippines, and we see the other brands are also catching up. No? Then we also see now that even the commercial vehicles, the trucks, are coming in. So we're really very excited. At the same time, we're also working with the power battery companies.
Okay.
And because we feel that it's very important in the long term to get them involved as well. And I think this collaboration also not only be in the production of batteries, but also in looking at applications, because this industry can also support the renewable energy
Right.
industry, which is actually very important also, because you can really claim to be green only if your
Power
energy
generated.
is also
Yeah,
green.
correct.
And we're also happy that there are a lot new investments in renewable energy in the Philippines, and that further strengthens the collaboration with China, because most of the contractors or the partners are also Chinese companies.
Right.
So it's I think things are somehow aligning, and the issue in Iran is somehow making people think now really of going green, because gasoline
There's a lot of
prices
pollution
going
already
up.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true, very true. So thanks a lot, sir. It was great meeting you. And
It's a
thanks for your
pleasure.
time.
Yeah, and all the best. We hope that your company
Asia
can support the development of the EV industry also in ASEAN. And I think there's so much opportunity for collaborating with even with Indian companies. I know that is also the direction that Indian companies are looking into, and we know Tata has been, I don't know, they surely have EVs now also.
Yeah, Tata EV, we do.
So I know some of their cars are in the Philippines already, so
Amazing.
hopefully in the future there can be cooperation also with India.
Great. This is the spirit which is needed to grow.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay.